Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and today I've got a Christmas classic on 4K for the first time. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the channel today. In this review, we're going to be checking out National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation on 4K Ultra HD for the very first time. Now, if you know the 4K format and you've been following along, this was part of a big release of Christmas classics from Warner Brothers, which included Christmas Vacation, as well as Elf, A Christmas Story, and The Polar Express. I will be covering the other three, just need to get through and watch them all and review the discs, but I did check out Christmas Vacation first because, honestly, it is probably my favorite Christmas movie. Maybe Jingle All the Way is like a 1A, 1B situation, but I just love this movie and we watch it every single year once it hits November 1st, so I was super excited to get the 4K, and it was the first one I checked out. So in this review, we'll talk about the video quality, we'll go through the audio, we'll talk about packaging and special features, and ultimately I'll answer the question for you whether or not this one is worth upgrading for your movie collection. Now, for the purposes of this review, I actually had the old Blu-ray release, which I think was 2007 or 2008. I did not have the 25th anniversary release, which I think came out in 2015, and actually did have an updated scan. So I can talk a little bit about the differences there, but my comparison point was the 2008 Blu-ray, which has been out forever. Now, there was no information from Warner Brothers on whether or not this was a brand new scan, although we did get that information on the other three discs from their Christmas 4K releases. So my feeling is that this is probably an upscaled version of the 2K scan they did in 2015. So as far as I can tell, and from what research is telling me, this was not a new 4K scan from the original camera negative. It's most likely the upscale. But in 2015, that in-between Blu-ray disc that I didn't have, they did do a new 2K scan from at least an inner positive, which did deliver a much better experience than what we had in 2008. The 2008 Blu-ray of Christmas Vacation was very poor. Essentially, it was a DVD transfer like a lot of early Blu-ray releases were, which was upscaled to Blu-ray. It didn't look good. An upscaled DVD on a Blu-ray player would have given you the same experience, and it was a really, really poor picture, as a lot of those early Blu-rays were. They just weren't a big difference over DVD, especially if there wasn't a new scan. It was really grainy, it was really dark, a muddy picture, just didn't look nice. So having that as my comparison point, and that's what I had been watching, popping in this 4K disc was a revelation. So if you're watching the 2008 disc, and you pop in this 4K, it's going to be a huge difference. I mean, it's going to be as big a difference as a movie like Reservoir Dogs was on 4K, which we reviewed recently. Also another 2008 Blu-ray with a new 4K release. It's going to be that big of a difference. The colors are dramatically different, not in a bad way. Definitely a lot of HDR color grading went into this release, but a lot of color grading went into the 2K scan that was done earlier a few years back as well. So those are all a massive upgrade over what we got in 2008. And this 4K disc really does look pretty good. This is probably the best this movie's ever going to look, because it's just not a movie with like expert cinematography or anything. I mean, it has sort of it has a very 1980s feel. It has a very filmic feel. I mean, you're going to get grain, but the 4K just helps resolve that a lot better. So it's not as noticeable. It's not as, in your face. It's not as heavy. It's much finer and more purely, just filmic and detailed than DVD or Blu-ray releases previously. Now, I will say it's not as good as if we could have had a true 4K scan, I think. I mean, I don't know what the source looks like, so maybe that's not the case, but I would have liked to see them go back and do the 4K scan, because that would have added an extra level of detail. So overall, the video is really good, like the best this movie's ever looked, but I would probably give it like a 3.5 or a 4 out of 5, just comparing it to other 4K movies from this time period, because without the 4K scan, it does fall behind a little bit, and some of the HDR, it's not perfect, but there's just a few instances that stood out to me. Otherwise, it's a very good looking disc. If you are coming from the 2008 Blu-ray, this one is a no-brainer upgrade. Night and day difference, you need to have it. If you're coming from the 2015 Blu-ray Anniversary Edition, This sort of looks like that release. Obviously, true 4K helps. HDR gives you a different experience. I wouldn't necessarily say it's better or worse. It's just a different experience than the Blu-ray. But you may have a harder time selling yourself on an upgrade because that 2015 disc is pretty good. If you're sitting on 2008 though, there's no reason to wait. Go out and get this on 4K. It's the best the movie's ever looked, and you might as well buy it in the best format if you can. So I know that was a little confusing, but there were multiple releases and multiple new scans done in the Blu-ray era and in the 4K era with color grading, so just wanted to make sure I covered all the bases there. Now on the audio side, this is where this disc actually has a big improvement because it has a 5.1 Dts Hd Master audio, which Warner Brothers is calling the remastered track. It also includes the original theatrical audio, which is a 2.0 stereo track, but I really liked the way the 5.1 sounded. I thought that it gave for a much fuller audio experience, especially for a movie that has, at times, a lot of different conversations happening. Think dinner table, think when grandma and grandpa and everybody come in through the front door, think just all those family moments at the end of the movie with, you know, the kidnapping and the police officers. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot of different characters talking, and I think the 5.1 helps just open that up a little bit and makes it sound better because you have more room to work with. The 2.0 stereo track, not an issue at all. If you want that original theatrical audio, you can get it, but I enjoyed the 5.1. I liked the expanded soundscape. I liked the way the music sounded. I really liked the way dialogue sounded, and those few kind of highlight moments, you know, there's not many. The sledding, obviously, and then like I guess the car under the truck at the beginning, you know, maybe a couple, there's obviously a couple of explosions here or there. Like, yeah, I thought those were a little bit more full as well and they sounded better. But, you know, if you're a purist, you still have the 2.0, and if you want to check out the new remastered audio, which I do think is superior, you've got that option with the 5.1. So it's really nice to see, you know, even though Warner Brothers maybe didn't do a whole new 4K scan, they at least went back and touched up the audio and gave us a great experience. So that does make it a pretty worthy upgrade over 2008 or 2015 Blu-rays in my opinion. Now the packaging here I think is really well done. I saw some people online when it got released were like kind of iffy, but I love it because it looks like a Christmas card. You know, you've got the whole family. It has that very like 80s Christmas card feel, and I do love when they try something new with artwork because we've sort of always had that classic, you know, Chevy Chase being, you know, with the Christmas lights like being electrocuted on the poster art. That's sort of what we got everywhere. We got some close-ups of him on the 2015 release. I like this one. I like this one a lot. So on the inside you get that same artwork that the slipcover had, and then nothing crazy on the discs. You know, Blu-ray, 4K, both just red color discs, no disc art there. So now in the special features, on the 4K disc, you do get a commentary track, which has been included on previous releases. It features Randy Quaid, kind of before he went completely nuts, Beverly D'Angelo, Johnny Galecki, Miriam Flim, the director and producer. So you get a pretty good cast of characters and crew there on the commentary track. On the Blu-ray, just a theatrical trailer is added in addition. So that's really it here. One thing to mention, if you do buy this and you're still on Blu-ray format and haven't upgraded to 4K yet, this does have the new Blu-ray disc, not the old 2008 version. So you'll at least get that remastered Blu-ray as well, although that's not going to include the remastered audio. So overall, I think Christmas Vacation is a pretty good effort by Warner Brothers. You know, obviously we don't know what the situation is with the source and how they, you know, what they had left to scan this, and, you know, why we didn't get a true 4K scan like some of the other Christmas movies that they've put out. But the remastered audio at least shows that Warner Brothers was willing to put in the effort and remaster what they could, and that's great. I do love the packaging, and I do think that HDR, although it can be a little bit different at times than maybe what you're used to, that's only in a handful of sequences, and I really did like the added depth that the picture gave you with HDR. So I would recommend this 4K disc 100% if you have the 2008 Blu-ray, and I would say maybe wait for a sale. If it's one of your favorite movies, go grab it. But if you have that 2015 Blu-ray, that's a pretty good disc. What you're going to get here is HDR and upgraded remastered audio, so you make the decision with your budget and your collection if that's worth it. If you do want to pick this up, I will leave a link in the description to the Amazon listing where you can grab this one. That helps support my channel, so I appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media. All those links are down in the description, as well as a bunch of different links to partners and people I work with where you can get discount codes and help support my channel while also getting yourself a discount. So check those out, especially if you're getting into some holiday shopping. We got some good codes down there for places like Fright Rags, Movie Palette, gaming chairs, all kinds of stuff. So check them out if you get a minute. And as always, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and stay healthy out there, and I will talk to you all soon.